All right, everybody, hello. Obviously, we took a little stop after our trip today to the Georgia Museum of Agriculture. Keith invited me to come over and see his shop live in person because I've only seen it on the channel. So we brought the family over here on the way. And of course, you probably know Keith Rucker from vintagemachinery.org. We're going to give you a quick look around his shop and and see what's going on and what all he has. It's impressive. Nah, makes me wish we could have a bigger shop. Hey, hun, can I have a bigger shop?
Sure.
Can you say that live on YouTube loudly? Can I? Woo! You guys heard it first.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we're going to do is if anybody's got any questions for Keith, you can pop them up on the screen if he's not watching. Chevy 250SS says hello. If anybody has any questions, we'll try to get Keith to answer them, or we'll show you around anything you want to see. I'm going to put the camera facing forward. We're just going to kind of walk through. So good evening, Steve Lang, Shark River Machining, Blue Wolf. We're going to walk around real quick and just take a look around Keith's shop. So here we go. We're going to go front facing on the camera. And Keith, you want to just just let him see. All right, sorry guys, internet's being a little finicky. It says we're back, so sorry about the quick disconnect there. So you want to give them a tour?
Yeah. So kind of over here is my where I do most of my bench work and have my toolboxes and tools and what have you. This is what I know a lot of you guys see in my videos because this is where things are usually going on. In fact, just filmed some stuff out here last night. See some stuff laying on the table, and I'll probably post on the video first of the week, doing little odds and ends and talking about.
Boy, that looks familiar from yesterday, huh?
So we were over yesterday at the car show. And Adam Booth was there, and all of us found some pretty good deals. And so anyway, I have a little odds and ends video showing some of that, as well as some other things I've picked up recently.
So one thing I do want to point out in the shop is just in case anyone ever wonders, I do have one or two fans in the world.
You got to zoom in now.
Yeah, you got to zoom in real close, everybody. There you go. There you go.
Absolutely.
So, walk them through what you got in the boxes. I mean, not box by box, but just,
Well, right now my toolboxes, in fact, there's something I just got this Equipto box. I've only got a couple of things in here right now, but one of the things over Christmas break that I want to do is I want to go through all of my toolboxes, empty everything out, organize everything, and then put them back in boxes. Because right now, stuff's just kind of, I got a little bit over here, a little bit over there, and what have you. So I'm really excited to have a little more storage space here that I can do that with. I like to have my stuff organized, and
I understand. I'm exactly the same way.
And right now, it's not organized to my satisfaction.
Well, you just had a scraping class here, right?
I did, just a couple of weeks ago.
So it's a little out of sorts from having all the folks in the shop, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get stuff cleaned up, well, not cleaned up, but straightened up from there and get all my stuff put back up.
So that's your K&T, right?
Yep, that's my K&T 2H, plain horizontal mill.
Good afternoon, Kyle. Wells Index.
Wells Index mill machine back there. We just moved all these machines a couple of weeks ago and kind of got things over in this area.
And there's the master granite plate.
Yep. Got my surface plate that we do some scraping with. And yeah.
And then what about this? This is the new lathe for you, right? Pretty new?
Yeah, so this is the one I'm working on right now, this Monarch. This is my 16-inch Monarch lathe, and I'm in the process of doing a pretty in-depth restoration on it. I didn't grind the bed in, but we're going to scrape pretty much the rest of it in. I've been through most everything on here, been in the process of putting it back together, and it's been a long process. I'm going to do videos on this as I go.
And then well, I guess we'll go this way because 1 or 2 lathes or even 3 lathes isn't enough. You've got to have more. This is obviously the LeBlond.
I think you need 3 lathes. You need a small lathe, a medium-sized lathe, and a big lathe.
Can you, when you're done, would you go out there and tell my wife about that? Because
Okay.
she needs to hear that.
Well, I'll be glad to let her know about it. But this is my LeBlond lathe. I restored this one last year, and I use the term restored rather lightly. It was really more just a good cleaning and painting. I didn't really do much as far as mechanical restoration to it. It really didn't need a lot. But this is really my only lathe in here that works at the moment. But once I get the 16-inch LeBlond lathe going, I'm actually probably going to get rid of this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to find a new home at some point in time. It's a nice machine, but it kind of overlaps in capacity to what the Monarch will do, and the Monarch's got a little bit longer bed and some other things on it. So anyway. I've got a 10 double E that I'll be restoring down the road, which is a smaller lathe, and that's probably what's going to come
Replace
over here
that
at that point in time.
And didn't that come from Adam?
Yeah, so the Cincinnati Bigford drill press, that came from Adam Booth, and we got it all stripped down, and I just haven't started doing a repaint job on it and all that. Mechanically, I think it's in pretty good shape. So I'm not planning on just taking it completely apart. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of my philosophy on some stuff. Anyway.
So what if you're Brian Block?
Well, if you're Brian Block, you would drop it and break it, and then you'd have to fix it. Brian was actually down here a couple of weeks ago for my scraping class, and we were having some fun with that. So he pointed out over here on this one, as we were cleaning it up, you could tell where it's been welded back together right here. So I think this machine fell over at some point in time. There's also some welding up here in the top where
you can see where.
Yeah. So.
But you didn't drop it, right?
I didn't drop it. No.
Somebody says don't pick on Brian. We pick on Brian. He picks on us.
I'm not picking on Brian. Brian's awesome.
Oh, I love Brian.
Yeah, I love Brian, but you know, I don't drop things from a bridge crane. I don't have a bridge crane to drop things from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is your big monster.
That's my 28-inch Monarch, and it's kind of piled up with stuff right now. And I need to really get in here and do a restoration on this at some point in time, but it hasn't happened yet. I got too many projects to do.
Well, at least it keeps you out of trouble, right?
It keeps me out of trouble. That's right.
And this is Brian's little brother. I can't even get the whole thing in the camera. Hold on, let me back up some.
Yeah, so this is the light duty, the LD right here, light duty, Carlton radial drill. And when I went to pick this one up, I'm gonna tell you, I was nervous as a cat because they actually had a bridge crane in the shop where they picked it up, and you know, we picked this thing up, and it was actually had to go up and over some other machines to get onto my trailer. And I'm gonna tell you, when that thing was hanging up in the air and kind of flopping around, and it was an old wore out bridge crane, and you know, it didn't move very smoothly, and it was swinging up underneath the bottom. I'm just like, but fortunately we didn't have any disasters.
Somebody just commented, I think we all cried when Brian dropped the drill. Yeah, we cried and we replayed it like 25 times. So you guys, when you pulled this up on the trailer at the museum, we had actually just come to visit you. And so we actually got to see this before. You had fired up a hot seat washer.
Right.
And you were going to wash it.
I was steam cleaning it, yeah.
And it was pretty ugly. I'm so impressed with how good it looks, man. It literally, when you crank that handle to move the head back and forth, it is so smooth. It's like, it's just like glass.
It's really nice. And when, before I got it, whoever had it before me, they had done a paint job on this thing, and they actually painted the ways on this thing. And I mean, it would not move. It would move, but it was really stuck. And just we came in here and we stripped all the paint off, and I had to move it down onto the new surface, and it was so bad I actually had to get a cheater bar to put on this handle.
Really?
Crank it over. And then once we got all that paint off of the ways, all of a sudden it just started moving, and I was like, oh yeah, we got it down now. I was worried I was going to break something just to get it to an area where It didn't have all the gunk behind it, but it just closed it up basically. But,
It looks so nice. So you did such a good job on it.
well, it's mechanically it seems to be working. As far as the drill goes and all that, I've done a little bit of testing with it. I've still got to get my elevation motor on here that raises and lowers it. I've got it back. It was completely dead. I had to have it rewound. I had to take it to a motor shop and they had to completely rewind that motor.
Brian Block just commented. He said, "What the hell are people talking about me and my drill even on your channel?" Yeah, Brian, we're talking about you.
That's what you're famous for, Brian.
That's, you know, there's some things to be famous. At least everybody's safe and the drill's back up and operating,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. At least we're not talking about a pancake, Brian. That's,
Yeah,
that scared me.
Viral Brian. So somebody said they wanted to see your planer matcher running. They were asking about that.
Okay, well, there is a video of it running. I don't think we had the side heads going. And the issue we ran into is we were running that off of a little old John Deere tractor, and the John Deere tractor developed some issues, and we haven't been able to fire it back up. So we actually got a new steam engine out at the museum now that's powering our cotton gin, and I'm hoping that down the road here, before too terribly long, we're going to be able to build a little matcher shed or planer shed kind of over next to that and be able to power it from that sawmill, from that steam engine at the cotton gin. Okay. But until that happens, I'm not sure that we just don't have a way to run it where it's sitting at right now is a problem.
I think I know a good John Deere mechanic.
I didn't think about that.
So Brian Block just commented that we're just jealous because he's gotten to weld tons of steel together and we haven't. Cumulatively, Brian, I've welded a lot of steel. Not all at one time, though.
Not all at one time. Anyway.
So you got a metal planer over here, right?
Yeah. So this actually belongs to the museum, and probably go around the other side and probably get a little better shot of it. But this is another restoration project for down the road. The museum had a person donate this planer to the museum, and they really didn't have a place to store it properly. So I told them that I had a place that I could store it at, and that I would restore
Convenient.
it, and I would probably use it. And since a big chunk of what I do is doing work for the museum, it'll get used for museum projects.
Shop dogs.
Yes.
Oh,
But anyway,
Tom Q said, "Oh, look, Brian, it's a cute little drill." To each his own.
But anyway, this is going to be a restoration project down the road. I've got to get a gantry crane in here to take it apart, and that's another one of my projects that I'm hoping to get done pretty soon. Is get a gantry crane in here where I can actually take this thing apart and start working on it.
So behind you is surface grinder, right?
Yeah.
That's your. I remember when you told me somebody had hooked you up with that one or something.
Yeah. Well, this Landis, this 8x24, and it actually came. I got it in the same deal where I got that LeBlanc lathe and the big Monarch lathe, and some other stuff as well. But this was all in one person's collection. Unfortunately, he passed away, and I was able to rescue several pieces from his pretty large collection. He had a huge building just full of stuff, and I was able to get in there and get a few items out of there.
And keep it from going to the scrap guy.
Yeah, well, I don't think any of that stuff ended up being scrapped, but it was still nice to get it, and I was able to get some nice stuff. And you know, when I got the surface grinder, I was a little bit worried about it. I didn't really know how well it was going to work. I was not able to run anything under power when I was in there. They didn't have any, he had it all under power at one time, but when I got there, they had disconnected the three-phase, so I was just kind of going on hope that it was going to be all right. But we got in here, and it's doing a pretty good job. It's not perfect, it's an old machine, but I scraped that ground that 18-inch straight edge in it. I did a video on that a couple of weeks ago, and it was maybe 6/10 out over 18 inches.
I'm good with that.
And you know, when we're going to scrape it in, get it perfectly flat, but for the vast majority of the work that I'm doing in my shop, that's more than adequate. You know, some tooling die grinders may disagree with me, but I can do some nice work on it.
Oh, I'm jealous of it. And then of course you have this little tiny Atlas right there.
That's actually was in my woodworking shop, and I didn't have a drill press out here. I have them now, but this is actually when I'm going to go back into the woodworking shop.
Kyle made a comment about Bailey, and I was like, well, there's Keith's shop dog. Look, with stick in mouth, ready to play with my kids.
So during the scraping class that we had a couple weeks ago, Brian came down and Bailey came down and supervised everybody the whole week. So Bailey has been to the shop down here, and him and Elliot and Gracie got along pretty well. Him and Elliot got along pretty good. Gracie was a little bit picky. She wanted to pick on poor Bailey, and Bailey almost ate her a few times.
Well, you know, it happens. So let's flip the camera around here real quick. So one thing that I know when I watch your videos that we never see is the other side of the shop. So can we go over there?
Absolutely.
So the interesting thing for those of you guys who don't know about when Keith built the shop is he actually built. Bailey wanted no part of getting picked on. So there's actually two shops here. It's one contiguous building, but he put a dividing wall, if you've never been here, so that when he does his woodworking in the back, none of the sawdust gets into the machine tool area, which is brilliant. I wish I had that option. Unfortunately, I do most of my woodwork outside. Yeah. I have to because I don't like that dust getting all over the oil on the ways and such.
Well, that's the plan. We'll see how it works.
So, you know, a lot of people don't see on YouTube the other side. Yeah, Doug, my dream shop too. By the way, Doug gave you a thumbs up a minute ago. He's a buddy of mine.
Good deal.
So we're going to go into the other shop. It's not finished like this is, right? But you never really see that on your videos. So I thought a lot of people might like to look around.
Absolutely.
Let's we'll flip the camera around and we'll go forward. All right, here we go. There's Shop Kitty. My wife keeps trying to avoid the camera, so I'm gonna. She doesn't want to be on YouTube videos. All right, so this is the other side of the shop, and in here is it's unfinished. It's the same setup that he has over there in that side, but he hasn't had the time or the resources to finish it.
That's actually going to be my project this winter.
Oh, that's your winter project?
That's my winter project.
So Brian Block wants to know why you haven't finished that in a week. That's your 10EE, right?
Yeah, well, you know, if I had Brian down here to help me, I could probably got it done in a day or two, but...
Brian's kind of a slacker.
He's kind of a slacker, yeah.
He should be up there helping you and then helping me. So you got let's see, a wood lathe.
Yep.
This is your Kalamazoo that you were restoring, right?
Yep, that's my Kalamazoo, and I still need to get that finished up. I'm hoping to get some time to work on that over Christmas break as well, and get it. It's almost there. I've still got a few things I need to do to it.
Blast cabinet looks like it needs a little love.
Yeah, the blast cabinet was one that was being thrown away, and I rescued it, and it's a good cabinet, but basically all the insides have got to be redone. But anyway, I'll be probably getting that going as soon as I get a big air compressor out here.
So he's got a drafting table to do drawing. Looks like a real nice wooden woodworking table. Pedestal grinder. You know that's supposed to go on the other side, right? That doesn't go over here.
I need to. This needs a little bit more work to it to get it going, but it's just kind of sitting here right now.
So just a look around the shop. You can see he's been using it. I mean, there's sawdust on the floor. It's just not finished in yet.
I've pretty much got minimal tools in here right now. I use my table saw from time to time, you know, just doing construction work. My chop saw, same thing. So I've got quite a few woodworking machines. In fact, I've really got a pretty nice setup as far as machines go, but they're all kind of tucked away in storage right now. And I don't want to move them in here until I get the shop finished because they're going to be in my way.
Right. Well, I think a lot of us live... Dog versus cat. Everybody stand by. You want to start taking bets? Start taking bets who's going to win this? And there's the referee.
I can tell you which one will win that battle.
Oh, I know who will, but the baby's going to get right in the middle. Jesse's going to...
No. Let's see.
Yeah, the shop is huge. I'm quite jealous. One of the things I really like about your shop is that floor. That finished concrete floor that you can just wipe it down. I had to put epoxy on mine to get that. And then, of course, the epoxy wears.
Right. Well, this will wear too, but you can add more. You can put more on it. But I'm gonna tell you, the floor finish was probably the smartest thing I did in the whole shop. And I did that really before I had anything in here. Right as soon as we got through the construction.
I remember you brought in a machine and got tire marks on the floor. And
I had some tire marks on the floor. It was like a big buffing machine, but it was like a wire wheel and kind of scrubbed it down. It was for doing concrete. That's what it was for. But we got all that done, and I put the sealer in here. But man, you don't get all the dust when you sweep. If you spill some oil or something on there, you can just wipe it up. And I really like the floor.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've really enjoyed looking around your shop. So I know there was some controversy about putting this metal. This is, if anybody doesn't know, it's not 5 ridge. This is ag metal for putting on top of a roof of a building, metal buildings. And some people, fussed about when you put that on there, but I think that's if you see this in person, this is awesome. So it's metal, right? And you can wipe it down when oil and stuff gets flung on it. And I really like the contrast. It's just roof metal.
That's all it is.
And it's all the way around the shop.
Yeah, I have a wainscot, and part of my reasoning for that, and my shop has a lot of wood in it, and particularly over here on the metal side, if I'm cutting with a torch or welding or something like that, and I get some sparks up against the walls, I've got a little metal barrier. Now it's not perfect. Yeah, I've still got wood down there close to the ground, but the vast majority of the area around the walls, I've got a barrier between it. And that was kind of my original reasoning. And at first I was just going to get some sheet metal and put down there, and I was looking for some rolls and I couldn't find it. And I actually went into a little restaurant here in town and they had done this, and I was like, I really like the way that looks. And so we bought some metal roofing or metal panels and just put them in here. I like them.
So Kyle Greer says, I live next to a man that was a machinist from the 20s. I found a wood lathe in his wood shop, and I asked him why it had never been used. He says, because I'm not a termite. Only machinists will get that joke.
Yeah.
Did you have to grind the concrete floors before you sealed them?
No, I didn't have to grind them. They came in here and pretty much did a smooth finish on it when they were finishing out the concrete. So it did not require grinding.
Cool. So if there's anything anybody would like to see, we'll wrap this up here in the next couple of minutes. Kind of had a nice look around the shop, but if anybody wants to see like a close-up, something you've seen Keith doing and you always wondered, I want to know what's in that, just put in a comment down below. We'll go over and let you see, because not often you get to do live feeds, at least not yet. I've been talking Keith into it. Richard Ashman says, your house is bigger than my shop. No, your shop is bigger than my house in New Zealand.
Okay. Does he have a house somewhere else?
I think he's in New Zealand.
He's in New Zealand. Okay.
His shop is bigger than most people's houses.
So here's just an overview. Yeah, Chevy 250 says it's I like it, and it's much more durable than a wood siding. Talking about the metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And every man builds a shop a little bit like the way he wants it, right? And so when you build something like this from the beginning, and if you guys watch Keith's channel, you'll see him move stuff around. He's moved stuff around a lot, but that's part of it, is kind of finding where that good work balance is for you in your shop, and where your workflow kind of is.
And it's going to move again. I just moved a bunch of machines, and I kind of like it, but I'm going to tweak it a little bit. And I'm sure to get moved several more times, particularly as more things come in here and have to make room for more things.
All right, well, if anybody's got anything, pop it up there on the screen. If not, we'll wrap it up here real quickly. But I will tell you, Keith lives on a beautiful piece of property. It says, are those upper windows? Yes, they're upper windows.
Yeah, so I put a few windows up there. They don't open. They're actually just some sashes out of some old windows that I've salvaged, and actually took them completely apart and cleaned them up and reglazed all the glass and put it back in them. But it's just to get some natural light in here.
Somebody, I couldn't read, there was like 4 comments came up all at once, but somebody said something about the bash. They hope to see you this year at the bash.
I hope to be there.
We hope you're there. The metal roofing stone is a great choice. Contrast the wood. Can you show us the metal shaper? Sure. William Bemis wants to see the metal shaper. So,
metal planer. I don't have a metal shaper.
Is that what you meant, William? Did you mean the metal planer? He doesn't have a shaper, he says. I assume that's what he meant.
Okay, yeah.
So it's tough to get it all in frame. So obviously, you know, it was line shaft driven.
Yep.
And there's a puppy down there. He wants to get in there bad.
And I'm going to actually put a little line shaft in here to run it off of. If I plan, it's going to all be belted back up.
So you're actually gonna run it line shaft.
Yep. I'm going to put a counter shaft up above, and I'll probably just have a motor that runs that one counter shaft. But the way this thing works is you actually have 2 sets of belts that come down. One comes to one side and one comes to the other side. And one of the belts has a half twist in it, which reverses the direction. And there's a little shifter down here. That wheel's an idler. This is a drive pulley. And right now the belt will be sitting on the idler, but as the table goes back and forth, so it goes forward, and it basically this little belt shifter shifts over to one of the belts and drives it forward. And then whenever the table gets to the full length, it hits a little cog up inside this, and it shifts the belt over, and then it goes on the other side and it reverses back. And the size of the pulleys are different, so that you actually have the reverse stroke is faster than the forward stroke, so you're not wasting as much time on your reverse stroke. It's really a neat setup, and neat to watch it run, because you see these belts shifting back and forth, and it's all automatic, and it just goes back and forth. It's really neat.
The ingenuity is pretty impressive from, you know, from that early time period of machinery.
Yeah, this machine, I don't know the exact date on it, but based on some catalogs and some stuff, research I've done, it's probably 1880s, 1890s time frame when this one was made.
I'm trying to get you guys some better I hope that's giving you guys what you wanted on this. There's all the drive gears underneath there, along with the shop kitty. All right, guys.
Got the clapper box on here, just like on a metal planer, so your tool goes in here, and whenever it's in the forward stroke, it pushes it back and pushes it, but then on the back stroke, it lifts up so the tool doesn't drag back across.
Okay.
And just like on a metal shaper.
Shark River Machine just commented that that shape or that planer is bigger than his entire shop. It's big. What do you figure that table is long? 12 feet?
It's the working area on it, I think, is about 8 or 9, maybe 10 feet. Anytime you take measure, we'll measure.
So it's probably 10, maybe 10 foot overall. It's kind of hard to say because he's got some stuff stacked up here.
So the working length of the table is about 8 foot.
So it's 8 foot there, but then you've got from there.
Yeah, it's about 24 inches wide. But then, because the whole table moves, the table is actually going back and forth. You got a longer bed on here, so.
Okay. So I think Brian Block is on here still talking a little smack. He wants to know if you're going to put a real steam engine in here.
You know, I would love to, but when I built my shop, my wife made me promise her that I wouldn't have a steam engine at the house. I may go back on that promise yet, but I'm not quite ready to cross that bridge yet.
All right, well, let's go Let's go back. So, guys, we're going to wrap this up. We've been running about 30 minutes here. This is my oldest, Bo, and that's my middle one, Luke, and that one back there is Jesse. And that's my wife, Michelle. Wave, honey. I know you don't like being on YouTube, but wave. There she is. So, somebody said, what if you run the steam engine on air?
I guess I could do that.
Yeah, but then what's the point? Right?
Yeah, what's the point? I mean, you don't have near the power on air that you do with live steam. So, anyway.
So, we'll wrap this up. I hope everybody enjoyed taking a look around here, maybe seeing some of the stuff you don't normally see on YouTube. We've got looks like about 102 people watching.
Yeah.
Later, Tater. We appreciate you guys tuning in, being part of it.
Yeah, I actually been running steam engines all day today.
Yeah, he has, actually. You saw the earlier live feed. Hey, Brian, how are you? If you saw the earlier live feed, if not, go back on my YouTube channel, DoRite Fab, and check it out. You actually get to see him operate the steam sawmill today. And we'll kind of wrap this up, and we'll say thanks for watching, and we'll see you real soon.
See you guys.